This is Zay, founder of Poll. Poll lets you bet against your friends using iMessage and Apple Pay. This is a technical explanation of how Poll works. So you can get Poll from TestFlight, from App Store, or if your friend sends it to you via a URL in iMessage and you tap on it, you'll be able to access the application without any download using something called an app clip. So if you're in iMessage, you tap the plus icon, you'll see, sometimes you might have to scroll, you'll see an option, Bet Poll, Bet with Friends. Alternatively, if you have the iOS app, you'll see a little app icon, you can tap on it and open it. So when you open the application, you can log in with Apple ID. When you do so, two things are happening in the backend. We are creating you a user account both in the backend and in on chain using a using a user program account. And secondly, we are creating a Solana wallet and attaching that to the user, associating that to the user in the backend. So in onboarding, you can enter your display name. This is like a nickname that gets shown to other users when you share a bet. Then you can select from two modes. So there's cash and there's points. If you bet with cash, it's using USDC in the backend, it's real money. And if you're using points, it's basically for free, they have no monetary value. And you can obviously switch between the two whenever you wish. Let's go for cash. We'll set up an account, and what this is doing is this is creating a user program account on chain. We're just waiting for that to confirm before we can continue, as that's a requirement before we go and place a bet. We can then fund the account. We can use Apple Pay, which is powered by Coinbase Pay, which unfortunately doesn't work in the UK, so I can't demo that right now, as that's where I am. But the other option is to deposit directly, which if we do so, we can tap to copy. We can hop over to Solflare, and we can send USDC. So I guess another thing to mention is we only support USDC, as that is the preferred collateral of choice amongst our users. We'll just send over $2 to be able to demo the application. And on doing so, we're then taken to the last step of onboarding. We can then directly open the application in iMessage, or we can continue to the home screen. If we can continue to the home screen, this is the main view that everyone sees. And we can create our bet. This is our bet for ourselves and our friends. We can select from any templates that we have already, or we can start from scratch. So if we want to start from scratch, we could do something like, will our child go to sleep on time today? We click next. We can select contacts directly, or we can select how many votes we want and create a share link. So this is more suitable if you're chatting outside of iMessage, and select contacts is, of course, if you are chatting inside iMessage. So let's assume we're chatting outside. We can generate a share link. We'll talk about how resolution works, but we want to select the minimum number of votes before we're happy to say that a bet is resolved. So let's say in most cases we'll pick two, but just for the demo, we'll pick one. We then create a bet, and this is done on chain. So we're firing off a transaction on chain. This is creating a bet account and a bet account on chain using our SDK. We then generated a URL. This is a shareable URL. It has two data points in this. It has the referring user ID, so my user ID in this case, and also the bet ID. And we can share this, of course, in iMessage, or we can share this anywhere else: Telegram, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, you name it. We can then place a bet. So we can place a bet any amount. Let's start pretty small. Let's say $0.01. We can bet yes. Again, this is firing off a transaction on chain. We've got to wait for that to confirm. And once doing so, it will take us to a bet confirmation screen. On this bet confirmation screen, we can also view our share code, which you can then share again on Twitter or wherever we wish to. But then we get taken back to the bet detail screen, and we can see our own wagers. And at the top, we can see total wagers. And then we can, as you can see at the bottom, initiate a vote. So if we click initiate vote, we just let the user know what the outcome will be depending on each scenario. They can then select yes. Again, this is a transaction that's submitted on chain. Once that's completed, everyone that's in the bet will be notified. So if I share this to a friend, they would be notified that it's time to vote. We can then vote yes or no. So the idea is, depending on the question, the consensus amongst friends would settle the vote. So if I vote yes, and as you remember, we selected one vote minimum to settle the bet, this will automatically settle to yes. Now, in most cases, you'll probably set the votes to two, or the number of people within your group, and that's the whole flow. As the application in the current form, you can place a bet, you can share the bet, and you can then vote on it and settle the bet. Coming soon, we're going to have the ability to play with friends. This is a little bit rough. You'll be able to practice, play for fun, play for cash. If you pay for cash, you can select your contacts, you can generate a link. Again, similarly, you can select how many people you want to invite. You get a little link, you can then proceed with the game, and then we have a really basic game right now. Yeah, that's Paul. If you've got any questions, feel free to ping me.